In today's video, we're going to be doing a full fluid flush on my Nissan 350Z using my favorite oil and lubrication brand. Now, if you search the internet for something along the lines of what's the best oil for my car, you're going to get thousands of different answers and come across a lot of people who are adamant that their choice of oil is the right one. I'm not one of those people, and that's because at the end of the day, there's a lot of good companies out there making really quality oil. But Motul has always been my go-to, and today we're going to talk about why. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Avenged Media. My name is Nick, and like I said, today we're doing a full fluid flush on my 2005 350Z that is behind me. This car does see a fair amount of track time, so I like to cycle the fluids out more than you would on just your daily driver. And ever since I got into cars, I've been a huge believer that if you take care of a car properly and use quality products when maintaining your car, that it's gonna last longer. And with that, I am super excited to say that we have one of the best oil and lubrication companies in Motul jumping on board as a sponsor of the channel. Now, because this car does see a fair amount of track time already, I've been super particular about what fluids I put in it, and I'm particular about what fluids I put in all of my cars, but I've been buying Motul products for a long time. And that's kind of my general rule of thumb, is if I wouldn't buy the product, I don't want to work with the company, and I have bought plenty of Motul products over the years. So let's go ahead and dive into what we're going to be using on the 350Z. So one of the first things that I love about Motul is they have awesome customer service. I wasn't sure what products I wanted to use in the 350Z, so I called in and talked to one of their product technicians and was recommended all the products you see here in front of me. All these products were recommended based on what I told him I was planning to do with the 350Z and how I drive the car. And you can do the same thing. You can call in and talk to one of their technicians. This is open to anyone, which is just awesome. So we've got the motor oil. We're not going to use all this. This is enough for like 2.5 oil changes. I just wanted to have extra on hand. We've got their Gear 300, which is what he recommended for the diff and transmission in this car. The brake fluid as well. We're going to do this in another video because we're actually going to change out the brake lines as well. So I'm going to save that. But then we've got our multi-ATF, which is going to be for the power steering as well. So we're going to change all these fluids today, and we're going to get started with the motor oil. I learned a lot of stuff when I called and talked to their product technician about this product, so I just want to share a couple of things that I found most interesting about this. Now, first of all, one of the most important things is this is a performance-based oil rather than your typical maintenance oil. And what that means is that you can't expect to get your normal like 3,000, 5,000 kind of mile increments with this oil. What you do get in exchange is peak performance out of your motor when you're running this oil, is the whole idea behind it. So my plan is to change this out every few track days and just make sure that it's always fresh in the car and be overly cautious with it. But we're gonna kick off the fluid flush by getting the old 300V out of the car and putting the new fresh stuff in. All right, boys, we are gonna go ahead and get the car back up in the air and start looking at the transmission and diff. All right, so next up, we're gonna be taking care of refilling the diff and the transmission, and we're gonna be using Motul's Gear 300. Now this brings me to the second thing that I like about Motul. Motul has been involved in motorsports for like well over 100 years. This stuff has been proven, and they have products that are specific for performance cars, high performance cars, and cars being used outside of just a daily driven vehicle. So this is a high performance gear oil that performs very well when these components are under high load, which is exactly what's happening to our transmission and diff while we're drifting. So this is going to be the perfect fluid for our 350Z. So as I was about to drain out the diff fluid, I realized that we've done the transmission fluid, but never the diff fluid. So I'm very curious to see what this looks like after a few track days. We've got a drain plug up here behind our diff brace. So I'm gonna see if I need to pull that brace off in order to get the drain plug out. We probably are, otherwise that's gonna make a huge mess. So I'm gonna remove this diff brace, get the fluid drained, and then we'll put our new Motul Gear 300 in. Yo, when I said my diff was under heavy load, ooh, there is quite a bit of metal on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably a good thing we're doing a fluid flush on this. Wow, that is crazy. So just for reference, that is what the plug is supposed to look like without all the metal buildup on it. So hopefully our new gear oil helps prevent some of that. We got a new crush ring on here. We're gonna go ahead and put this back in and fill the car up with our new Gear 300. This is pretty much what I expected the transmission oil to look like on this car since we replaced it within the last 5,000 or so miles. But let's go ahead and get the new stuff in. All right, we now have the Motul Gear 300 in the transmission. We've got the fill plug back in, and same thing with the diff. So both of these are good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the car down, run it, just to get all the fluids into the systems real quick. All right, we completed the fluid flush in the 350Z. It is back on the ground. I'm gonna hold off on doing the power steering fluid just because I don't feel like taking off the bumper right now and dealing with that mess. That system is kind of a pain to drain with the power steering cooler on there. So we're gonna save that for another date. But we do have one more thing to do to make this whole thing official. We've got stickers. So I'm gonna go and throw one of these guys on the back window and then probably one of each of these guys on the side window real fast. Let them know what we're repping. I'm super particular about putting stickers on my car, but I will happily represent a quality brand like Motul. I think that looks pretty sick on there. But I'm gonna get this thing on the ground and take it for a drive. I don't expect the motor or the transmission to sound any different, but our diff fluid was so thrashed that I'm actually curious if it's quieter now. Plus, I just like driving this car. So let's go take it around the block. definitely quieter. That is crazy. I really didn't expect that. This thing is just such a good car. I love how it looks, first of all, but as far as an investment into getting into drifting, this was my best purchase. It's simple, it's fun to drive, the motor in this thing is entirely stock, but I just take care of it and do all the maintenance, and it treats me really well. And I do that with fluids like Motul, so I am super excited to have them on board as a sponsor. If you guys are loving this 350Z content, I have put 2 more of my all-time favorite 350Z videos up on the screen for you to watch. I hope you guys enjoy those, but until next time, peace out, and I will see you guys soon.